Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the video. My name is Bradley, also known as the Swim Coach. Today we're going to be looking at the points from game week 30 and looking forward to game week 31. Who did well in my team? Who's got injured? Who's got suspended? So we do have some things that we need to talk about, and we'll discuss that in the video. But beforehand, if you like this video, please hit that subscribe button. Also, hit that like button. It'd be much appreciated. Get into the video. So, I ended up with 52 points, which was above the average. Wasn't the top score, but they did use their bench boost. I did take 3 transfers at an 8-point hit. Now, we had Flecken in goal, giving us 1 beautiful point. Played the 90 minutes, but also conceded 2 goals. It was a bit of a risk, but that was the case. Now, our defenders. We've had a little bit of a problem now with our defenders. So, first of all, got a clean sheet plus the 90 minutes. So, just the 6 beautiful points there. Just played the 39 minutes and is now got a calf injury. Expected to only be out for 1 week. But do we take that risk? That's the thing for next game week. Gabriel, on the other hand, only played 15 minutes and he is out for the rest of the season. So it's a bit disappointing for Arsenal, especially with this week coming up and then also midweek in the Champions League against Real Madrid. So our defenders only gave us 8 points in total, plus goalkeeper 9 from the defenders. Okay. Midfielders did a lot better. We got Rodgers with 10 points. Got an assist, got the clean sheet, and bonus points. So 10 beautiful points there. Bruno Fernandes, just the 2 points for the minutes. Wanyeri got an assist and clean sheet. He came off, and then afterwards, Arsenal's Fulham scored. So that's why he gets a clean sheet. Mo Salah was our captain, kept the clean sheet, 3 points, double captain, so just 6 points there. If I did have Rodgers, I would gain a lot more points. But on that note, Rodgers was actually on my bench. One of the players did not start, and we'll talk about that in a second. Okay. Pedro, just the 71 minutes, the 0 defeat. 2 points there. Well, we've got a goal scorer, bonus points, and 9 points here from Mashuri. Okay, so good little switch out. Isaac, well, he's got a warning on him. We'll talk about that in a second. 65 minutes, got a goal, and a bonus. So 8 beautiful points. Now, it is a groin injury, so I'm not sure. Do they want to play him against Leicester? Maybe. Or could they rest him and then go for Liverpool and Palace? Liverpool, right? United and Palace. They could be the ones coming up. Fixtures coming up. Now, Justin Cliver is now 50-50 with muscle injury. So he didn't play. And that's why Rodgers took his place. Pickford did get 3 points. So Pickford would have actually given us 2 additional points. And then Mikalenko would have just given us 1 additional point. So from our total points, we could have probably gained only 3 points. So not that many points. Here are the fixtures. The results, sorry. A very nice result. Wolves, Ipswich. Southampton were unlucky. They were 1-0 and Palace got a late equaliser. So not that bad. Okay, now let's talk about this game week. And we're going to talk about, look at all these players that are now out. We have big problem. A lot of people taking Palmer out as well. So yeah, so Fernandez, that's purely because of the fixtures coming up. So it is very interesting who's been taken out. But what we want to talk about is the players that are coming in. There you go. There's the big one. Saka. Saka is the biggest one of them all. I think we may get rid of Cliver and put Saka in. And then probably put Isak on the bench. Saliba is another one that's a lot of people, because the Gabriel Saliba switch is a lot easier. And then the two Forest players, again, there could be a little switch there. But as again, I've been saying Forest have they did have a hard fixture against United, but they did well. But they've got some okay fixtures coming up, and I can see Forest actually doing well. Villa is probably a bit of a tricky one. Spurs, they should beat, but it is at Spurs. Chelsea, another hard one. Last game, that last game season could be actually fighting for Champions League football. But I think they 9 points clear or something like that. They are okay. They're 5 points clear of Chelsea. They are 8 points behind, 6 points behind in front of City. So potentially it could be 5 places up for grabs. So Villa this weekend, Villa were fighting for that Champions League spot as well. Who else would be fighting for that? Just them on that list. So, Villa and Chelsea, good games to have, or good battle games, should we say? Now with Saka again, 10.3, you got to love that. I think he's going to start playing a bit more, especially with the fixtures coming up. There's no game week 34, but we do have a double game week 33. So again, that's where we can use that to our advantage, and look at our bench and switch them on and off. So for me personally, right now, I think you could probably go someone like Arteta for this weekend if you've still got your managers listing. And then I would potentially go Crystal Palace. Palace is another one because you could literally you've got game week 32, game week 32. So you've got 4 games here. It is against City and Newcastle, but Palace can beat anyone. So you could go Palace manager first of all, because you're going to get those potential bonus points, with Palace being 12th, Newcastle 6th, and City are 5th at the moment. So that could be some good points there. And then you've got literally, you could probably go Arsenal, because of Arsenal having Ipswich, you get a lot of goals there. And then the week after that, I would probably say what would be game week 34. Game week 34 is a bit of a tricky one. Now, if I just have a look at the fixtures here, game week 34, you could probably go Newcastle with Eddie Howe against Ipswich. You could also go Fulham against Southampton. What else? Bournemouth against United, maybe. That could be some interesting ones. Yeah, or even Everton versus Chelsea. David Moyes. I may even think about that myself. That could be some good little ones. But you also got to look for that game week 34 which teams are going to be out and which teams have got no games. There's going to be 4 teams that have got no games. Maybe 6, I think. There's 8 games in game week. Yes, there's 4 teams missing. 4 games that are missing. No, 2 games are missing. So it's all right. Someone like Newcastle with Burns, a cheap player, Murphy, Rogers, even Rashford. Look at Rashford's points. There are a couple of 1s, but there's an 8, 9s. So coming up, yeah, I would probably say after the Forest game, you could probably use them for Southampton. Then they've got a bit tricky sides. Maybe not. It's a hard one because you can't play last game of the season against against United. Star is another good one. But again, Palace do have some hard fixtures coming up. Larson, again, got good fixtures, but some tricky ones at the same time. It is a bit of a who's who. United, of course, got some hard fixtures and some big competition. So that's going to be interesting of what you're going to do out there. For me personally, replacement Saliba for Gabriel, and then I would probably say this player for the Forest play if you've got them. Let's have a look at the actual outs. I can tell you who you could probably change for it. Anyone from midfielders you can probably look at. So, for example, you could probably have like Saka. You could probably have Elanga, Murphy, Rogers, Rashford, Asensio. So yeah. So even Luis Diaz maybe. That could be a good option. Other players you could potentially have. He's actually one of the top players out. Is Brian Number, but you got to look at the fixtures. I would say after United game, the last 3 you could probably have him in. You can have Song, Bruno Guimaraes. There are another ones, but with Newcastle, I'll just use Hull. With Newcastle, they do have some tricky little fixtures, but they do then have Ipswich. That could be Leicester this weekend. So there's some tricky fixtures there for Newcastle, but they could still win those games. I hope not against Arsenal. Morgan Gibbs-White, Bowen, Weze is another one up there. If you want a like for Justin Cliver, you got Simor here. So again, another player you could probably switch out for. And you are actually saving money. Beto is another one. Hasn't done really well in the last 4 weeks. But again, Everton do have some hard fixtures. Look at that. Arsenal, Forest, City, Chelsea. But then they've got a game of 3 where I think Beto against Ipswich would be good, and against Southampton. So I would avoid Everton for the first 4 games, the next 4 games, and then put him in for the next 3. So yeah, I think that's where you could potentially look at. Watkins, he'd be a good replacement for Isak, maybe, but he only played 25 minutes last game. So that's another interesting one. And they got no game week 34. So I think you've got to look about that. Now, let's have a look at goalkeepers. So top goalkeepers at the moment, okay. But you've got any players that are out, okay. So a lot of transfers there. Pickford out, Fabianski, Henderson. But you could probably go someone like Raya. But they're on this list. Sales, but I wouldn't probably do that because of the harder fixtures they've got coming up. They could do well. They could also concede. Probably, I would probably say a lot of people like Henderson, maybe, but it's a tricky one, I think. Goalkeepers are very hard to put. Now, if you go by top points at the moment for goalkeepers, Sal's up there. Best goalkeeper. But a lot of people do have Raya. So where can you gain those extra points? On Sales. Even on Pickford. Henderson. That's where you're going to gain some points over Raya. So I think if you look at the top players that are being transferred in, okay. Where is it? Those top transfers in, are they good for you as overall for all players? Maybe. Maybe they are, but you do have to look at them. The one player you've got to definitely probably have in your team right now is Mo Salah. He's 122 points clear of the next person. Wow. That is big. That's 618 points you had him captain all the way through. Oh, that is very good. Okay. So think about those top plays. Okay. The top point score as well. But again, a lot of them are heavy listen. Bruno Fernandes, Watkins are one of the lower ones, but they've not been doing well recently. Elanga is another good one up there. Bowen is another one that's been doing well. So, yeah, keep an eye on those. For now, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I will catch you on the next one. Good luck for game week 31. Bye from now.